you're making the situation actively worse.
Yeah.
And he's doing this, I guess, to farm engagement.
I guess. I don't know.
He's like such a fucking psycho, man.
Well, he picks the wrong. Well, and by the way, he'll go after Eric July for using 3D assets in a video that's promoting a comic book for months. Ashton, fucking 6 months of Eric July. Look, the hand is drawn not that good. Eric July did this. Eric July, 6 months.
He needs to be taken to task. He asked why Kiwi Farms wasn't A-logging Eric July. Why aren't you guys trolling Eric July? But we're not supposed to troll this guy because it's his kid's fault? Really? That's actually the sick, fucked up mindset that this guy has.
Are you fucking...
Like, he's acting like Marvel. He's trying to get me deplatformed from stuff. Even if it's true that Eric July is trying to get you deplatformed from stuff, which I condemn and think is really gay, it doesn't measure up to being a fucking coke fiend that neglects and doesn't feed your children. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Let's try and live in the real world here, Van Sciver. So that we have even more from him. Here he is versus the quartering. This is wild shit, because quartering says, like, this is a legendary sweep by Ethan Van Sciver.
Respects.
Mom and dad are on a 3-month coke bender. Why haven't the children stayed?
Right?
Here comes EVS to let us all know, hey, man, I know your only experience with children is watching them on banned Netflix documentaries.
What?
Like,
what did that mean?
I think he's referring to cuties, but that isn't banned by Netflix. And the people in his camp, like Diddler, Dax, and Vito, are the ones that do defend cuties.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure quartering is against that. So
not really sure what's going on here. But he says there are dysfunctional families all over the world where mommy and daddy aren't available to serve what you might think are basic needs. So he here is saying that food and clothing are not basic needs. That it's just an invention of privileged first world people, that children should have food and clothing in America in 2024 in a household where the income is well over 6 figures a year and they have access to a multi-million-dollar trust fund. Sorry, it just doesn't add up, pal.
Wait, pause. Okay. So, and by the way, Kate, on the previous line, let me just reiterate something here. If he's talking about cuties, right? And he's shitting on cuties and saying that quartering said it wasn't CP or whatever. Okay, EVS, let's say that's true. You hang out with Dick Masterson and Vito.
Those are your guys.
Those guys are the cuties guys. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, it's just wild.
Anyway.
What happens in those scenarios is that kids grow up quickly and learn to become self-sufficient. I gotta ask, is it actually a good thing that kids grow up quickly? Is it a good thing that their innocence is taken from them? That they never get to have a childhood? They never get to have a time in their life where they don't have responsibilities and they're allowed to have fun and be a kid? Isn't that really sad that they're exposed to the brutalities of life at 6 and lose their innocence in their childhood? No, it's a good thing. That'll toughen those kids up. Like,
scumbags.
Who can agree with that? Who can say, like, you know, like it is a thing. It will make them tough. It will make them callous. It'll make them so that they don't want to trust anybody ever again. It'll make them so that they have a hard time being friends with people in the future. It might make them spiral out and become addicted to drugs because they never got a period in their life where they felt like they had a childhood or that they were free from responsibility. And so they'll seek out that time period of being free from responsibility in their 20s. They might turn to drugs. They might turn to all sorts of horrible things in order to cope with that. It'll toughen them up. It'll make them hard. Like, I don't know if you realize, like, the Industrial Revolution was not like a good time. Like, the children being forced to work in the coal mines, and like they like, it wasn't good. Do you I just don't get this argument. It's fucking insane. You're all just privileged. Like, I kind of like for children to have a little bit of privilege, especially when it's very easy for it to be provided by their millionaire parents.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Oh, and can I just say one thing? And yeah, great point there. If this will pin, everyone, can you guys go and retweet that whenever you can? It's pinned right there. It's the DSP reacts to the Ricada.
Well,
it's such a funny
it's
video.
True,
so please,
Kung Flu
please do
Wang.
that.
EVS is pulling an extra slimy maneuver, claiming the kids are too lazy to make their own lunches, but the parents aren't even covering the basics like groceries.
Yeah.
Does it fall on the kids to stock the pantry with their own money that doesn't exist? On top of cooking, cleaning, homework, study, round-the-clock care for the youngest? He would say yes. It's those children's responsibility. It doesn't fall on the parents. And
okay, watch this, Ash. If the cupboards and fridge was full of cereal and there was like pizza pops and all that shit, like just packed constantly, I'd be like, okay, you could feed but even then, it does not excuse the parents being on a 6-month fucking bender. I'm sorry. Again, it's totality. It's not just the one fucking thing. They weren't washed. It was like everything compiled. The kids probably wanted to fucking die. And they're like, and by the way, not only aren't they showering, they're not eating, they're also watching their parents become different, horrible people.
Yeah.
And they're like sad, and they want to cry daily.
Like confusing, and they can't understand why it's like this. The 16-year-old might be able to grasp why it's like that, but even so, that's not really a good thing. It's just not good.
Yeah.
And to try and spin it as like this positive, they're going to pull themselves up by the bootstraps mentality, like this is like, it's madness. It really, really is. You're supposed to pull yourself up from your bootstraps by the time you're 3 years old. And then people wonder why like conservatives are lambasted for being heartless scumbags. Like parents aren't supposed to provide for their kids. This is the argument he's making. He goes, getting lunch and dressing yourself isn't hard. Well, it is when you have no money to get lunch, isn't it? Like this is madness. Most children have literally no idea what their parents are up to when it comes to sex or drugs. It's the water they exist in and they're used to it. Does that make it okay?
What the fuck?
Does that make it good? So it's like the children of heroin addicts, they just grow up in that.
They're used to it.
They're used to it. The children of child molesters who are molested by their parents, they grew up in it. They're used to it. What's the problem? It's the water they live in. They don't see why it's wrong. Do you see how your statements here are fucking insane, Van Sciver? How they wouldn't apply to any other fucking situation? Ever? This is insane, dude. This is really the world that you want and the world that you're going to defend? He says, this isn't to excuse Nick or Kayla. Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really?
Then why say it? Then why fucking say it?
There's no reason. It's the world just needs to be corrected. That children need to fend for themselves and their parents don't need to help them. You crazy.
Like children should have responsibility.
You know that this line is a lie.
What?
When he says this isn't to excuse Nick or Kayla, but his next line is this sarcastic bullshit. Feel free to be angry with them and want them in prison for life. I don't know if anybody is actually asking for them to be in prison for life.
No one's.
You know what
that.
I mean?
Straw man.
And it's like trying to make it out to be like, oh, if you're angry with them, you're a fucking unhinged lunatic. No, you're the unhinged fucking lunatic. He says, as a kid who grew up in a similar household with 8 brothers or sisters, we learned to take care of ourselves. My argument is you shouldn't have had to. It's seriously like some insane.
Apparently, his parents were rich.
Back in my day,
apparently,
were they?
Yeah. Well, chat. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But someone in chat was saying that. So.
But it's just this cycle of abuse where because it happened to him, and he turned out okay, even though he didn't. He's like a fucked up, insane
Okay.
monster,
Well,
judging by these statements, that it should have to happen to other people, or that other people should have to overcome it. Like, this is insane.
Okay, but Ash, okay, you lived, with 8 brothers and sisters. Okay, were your parents coked out of their mind doing orgies and not buying food? Because that would make it a bit tougher, or were they? Okay.